Hello, and welcome to another Conscious Evolution broadcast, where you and I go into the unconscious and bring it out into the conscious. And today, I want to talk about this concept of they. I briefly brought it up in yesterday's video, but I want to go more in depth in it because it's something that I have struggled with. I think I am still struggling with. And by they, I don't mean like the actual definition of the word, like, hey, they're playing soccer and you see the people and you're talking about them as they. It's just a normal thing. I'm talking about the they that live in here, the ones that you put blame on for things. And sometimes, me, I think it's been like everything. Like, you can go down into all the conspiracy rabbit holes, and then this they starts growing in your mind. These shady people that live in the shadows, but they're orchestrating everything. And this concept grows in your mind, and then you can start blaming them for everything, for all the things in your life that are going wrong. I know I've done that. And it's something I'm still working through. Because it's hard to differentiate what is actually going on in the world and what you are creating in your mind. And yes, there is a lot of darkness, bad shit, horrible things going on in this world. And some of these conspiracy rabbit holes that you or I go down probably have truth to them. But the problem comes when you take that on and you let it grow and fester inside you, and you start putting blame of things from your own life onto that, and you even start taking action that you otherwise wouldn't take based on this they in your mind. I'll bring up a purely hypothetical situation. And I haven't fully thought this through, so if I'm figuring this out right now as I go through it. So I'm probably going to get things wrong. It's a conscious evolution in my mind. So something that I say right now could be true for me right now, but in the future, it may not be true. So I'm gonna tell you this purely hypothetical situation. Let's say you and I are in this hypothetical world. You and I, as we are in this world, let's just place us into this hypothetical world. And in this world, there are nations and imaginary lines of like, people in this nation do this way, people in this nation do this way, and there are governments that govern these nations, much like our real world here. But in this hypothetical world, one of these nations, one of these governments that governs the nation is committing a genocide. And they are doing this. How they are doing this is because they have infiltrated another nation's government through blackmail operations involving sex trafficking of underage kids to get politicians to do what they want them to do. Purely hypothetical. I know, my mind, it's just sick how it can come up with this stuff. But in this hypothetical situation, me and you are living in this world, and we become aware of this situation. It may have been going on for years without us knowing. But the moment that we're aware of it, what do we do? What should we do? And it's not always clear because there's always conflicting information. But me and you have gained enough awareness on the situation. We've come to the conclusion that yes, this is going on. This nation is committing genocide. And it's done some horrible things. And our nation, the one that we live in, that has been completely infiltrated, or not completely, I shouldn't say completely, there's no ultimates, completes, but for the most part they have, gotten their hands on this nation's government and be able to pull the strings. They're the puppeteers. So me and you become aware of this. And we don't like it, we don't agree with it. I wouldn't agree with it. The most obvious thing to do, or the most you think, man, this is crazy. This is batshit crazy. This cannot happen. We need to go out into the streets, protest, fight. The rage in our minds builds and grows because this is crimes against humanity. Horrible. We need to fight. That's what I would feel if I was in this world. And in this world, the real one, so let me take you into a real situation, not hypothetical. I have throughout my life became concerned and know the horrible things that we are causing to our environment. It's so obvious with climate change and everything. So I forget what year it was, 2018 or 19, Greta Thunberg was like a spark that created a global revolution, or at least awareness, more awareness. And there was a global protest, and I felt that like I needed to fight. I needed to be there in the protest. I needed to show myself that I'm there to fight. And I went to the protest and it felt good. Like you see all of these people that think like you, that feel like you about the situation that's going on. And you're like, wow, the world is beautiful and ready for change. And there's so many people that want to like be one with the environment. Like us and the environment, we are one. We can grow and build together. But we've moved so far away from that we think we're separate from nature and we can just do whatever we want to it. And in the end, the earth doesn't need humans. If we have become so far detached from earth that we are willing to do whatever we want to it, that's a disease. And earth will shake us off like fleas. Wow, I just made a poem. But anyways, I felt I needed to go to those protests and I needed to fight. Now looking back at it, we're in a worse place than ever. What did that protest do? Really, honestly, like what did it do? We're in a worse place than ever. Environmentally speaking. Maybe I shouldn't say we're in a worse place than ever. The truth is, I don't know. Maybe things are happening around the world that I'm not aware of, that is like, it's setting us into motion that we're actually going to be aligned with nature. But the way I feel is like we're just pillaging the earth right now. But that's a real world situation. I forgot where I was on the hypothetical one. Oh. So I'm not so sure anymore that protesting and fighting is the answer. Definitely speaking your truth. Yes, that is the end. Yes, you have to speak your truth. And maybe I need to look more into the actual definition of protest. But I'm more talking along the lines of fighting. Like, I don't think fighting is the answer. Like, we gotta fight. Because then that creates like this, So there's these people here that think we can do whatever we want with the earth. And then there's these people here that think, no, we need to be one with the earth. And they need to fight these people. And then it's just that nothing gets done. Nothing gets done that way. So then, recently, like, I've been trying to basically forgive everything. Like, forgive myself for the unconscious things that I was doing to myself. Forgive myself, forgive others, forgive like people that I view as my enemy, Donald Trump and other people, forgive them. And so let's go back to this hypothetical world. Can I forgive a government a government that's committing genocide? Can I condemn and also simultaneously forgive them at the same time? It feels right, but logically it doesn't make sense. In my mind, it feels like the right thing to do, but logically it doesn't make sense. So I am conflicted in this hypothetical world. And I asked I asked an AI this question: can I condemn an action while also at the same time forgive the perpetrator? And AI said, yes, you can. So there's your answer. AI knows all. No, I think, yeah, you can. In this hypothetical world, I don't agree with what's going on. I forgive. I have love and compassion and sadness for all the people suffering, and I'm sorry for what they're going through. It's horrible. I wish this wasn't happening. And that's the thing, like, forgiving the perpetrator almost is like you're throwing the victims. That's the part that doesn't feel right. But I'll tell you another thing that is okay. So we have the they. You put this government in this them category in your mind, and you think you know it all. You know all the little intricacies and everything, and you assume the whole thing is just bad and evil. But there's so many parts that you can't see and you don't know. And I'm sure, I can't say sure, but what I think to be true is within that government there are people that do not agree with what's going on also. And it's like all of these parts, and then there's the man at the top in this hypothetical world. You can imagine whoever you want of this foreign government, the guy at the top. want, in your mind, it's so easy. You want to just see him as evil. Like he is Satan incarnate. Like, but that's an illusion too. Evil is a concept humans created to label horrible things that we cannot understand. Because I believe, I don't know, but I believe that if I truly knew this whole man's life, or woman, whoever you imagined, if you or I knew this whole man's life, every single little aspect of it, I'm not saying what he's doing is right or anything. I do not believe that, but I'm saying maybe me and you would have more understanding or awareness or compassion, even though we completely condemn what he's doing. We have more of an understanding of why he is doing it. And that is the hard part. Because what I know to be true is that we are all one. This whole thing is one. It's all one. And even though this little body person here can't understand the horrible things, this little body here is also part of it. I'll try and come up with a metaphor. So you've heard the saying, a drop in the I don't know how it goes. A drop in the ocean is the ocean. Like there's no separation between the drop in the ocean and the ocean. That's like the whole thing. But over the ocean, but over here there's an imbalance or something, and this algae starts growing through this imbalance because there's too much nutrients, and this algae starts growing, and it's out of balance with the whole thing. And this little drop over here is part of that whole imbalance. And this algae just starts growing and consuming, and the fish start dying because the algae is just taking all the oxygen. And it's an imbalance that needs to be rebalanced. This little drop of water, what is he going to do by fighting the algae? He needs to come back to balance. We all need to come back to balance. Balancing the dark and the light within us. In this hypothetical world. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to work through it in my mind, and hopefully you gain some insight too. I don't know if what I said is right or true, but I'm just working through it. So, thank you for listening, and bye.